Subscribe to my channel for more stories like this. Greetings from Revenge with Lyra. Your family doesn't count in my book. Those were my dad's words when I questioned why they skipped my boy's birthday party. I'd put in weeks organizing everything. Streamers, custom ornaments, plus a leased inflatable fortress resembling a mythical beast. My kid Milo stood by the entrance, clutching the card he'd crafted himself for his grandma and grandpa. They didn't show up. When I rang to check on them, my father barked back. Your household isn't part of ours. You're the odd one out. We've done plenty already. Right then, a piece of me broke apart. Yet I held back the yells. I stifled the tears. I flipped open my computer, signed into all the services they relied on. Bills for power, housing, meal services, even their TV package deal. And I hit terminate on every single one. Everything was under my name. For 7 years, I'd wired them $2,200 each month without a word. No inquiries, no appreciation. I shut down each service as if closing a coffin lid. After that, I grabbed the untouched cake for my son, and we headed out for a stroll. Only us two. 40 minutes on, my device buzzed nonstop. 26 unanswered calls, 14 voice messages, followed by a real-time video clip. My mother howling without tears. She'd hurled all the cookware across the kitchen. My father loomed behind, shouting, "What have you done?" I stayed silent. I simply muted it and drew Milo nearer. I'm Belle Maddox. I'm 35 years old. And if you believe you figured out the conclusion, keep watching. What occurs when quiet turns into the most cutting tool? Milo pulled on my arm as we observed ducks drifting over the water. He didn't mention his grandparents. He simply asked, "Can we do this again next year?" Just us. I agreed, biting my lip to hold back sobs. I didn't want him sensing any issue, because right then all felt right. We were secure, by ourselves, genuine. Until returning home, there were 3 ignored calls from my father's office phone. Then an email headed, "Restore the funds right away or we'll involve attorneys." I chuckled. Attorneys? Everything was in my name. Their housing costs came from my personal account, and I held proof spanning years. Even so, a fragment of me hoped. Perhaps they'd apologize. Maybe it was just a threat. But then my sibling jumped in. A public note from her on Facebook. It's pitiful when a person believes they can coerce affection. You shouldn't demand thanks for fulfilling family duties. Accompanied by approvals and chuckling icons from my parents. The identical parents who allowed me to crash in my vehicle for 3 months at age 19. The ones I pardoned repeatedly, over and over. This wasn't kin. It was a suck. A delay. That evening, I composed a single line and dispatched it to my mom and dad, my sister, and all who'd advised me to move on. The money wires were my error, and I fixed it. Then I barred every contact save one, my attorneys, since if they sought legal talk, I was prepared. The quiet that came next wasn't serene. It roared, like a vacant auditorium post-curtain drop, yet the illumination never returned. Then arrived the pounding, not on my home entrance, but at the child care center. I got there for drop-off and Milo's instructor drew me away. A guy showed up, claimed to be your dad. Attempted to whisk Milo away. My heart squeezed. He did what? We made him go. He grew furious. For your information. He wasn't successful, but we figured you'd need to know. I agreed, dazed, but deep down an old wound split wide. They weren't merely small-minded anymore. They posed a threat. I drove back trembling, secured the locks twice, and dialed my attorney. He didn't pause. We'll submit for a protection order. Urgent session, and I need full entry to your money records. Show me all you provided them. During our talk, a notification sounded on my device. Payment app plea from mom. $2,200. Nope, you're overreacting. Think logically. Resume the transfers. I nearly yelled. Rather, I passed it to my attorney. Then I checked Facebook once more. This round I didn't browse. I shared for those assuming quiet means fault. I covered my folks' expenses for 8 years. They boycotted my kid's birthday, then attempted to snatch my boy. Now labeling me erratic. I'm finished for good. Responses poured in. Some stunned. Some at last confessing they'd anticipated it, some from kin pleading to delete it. But the one that stopped me, a private note from my elder relative. I've endured this as well. If you seek the reality about your folks, I've got it. And it's more awful than you imagine. I gazed at the note from my cousin. My fingers lingered above the keys, hesitant. Then I entered. What do you mean more awful than I imagine? Her response arrived swiftly. They pulled this on me also. At 22, I granted them entry to my funds. Figured I was assisting. Months on, I learned Dad reworked my vehicle loan under him. And when I resisted, they informed the entire kin I was mentally fragile and required aid. I stared blankly. My cousin, the one they labeled the drifter, the rash one, the problematic one. She mirrored me, a decade forward. I possessed proofs. She typed captures, financial records, even an audio clip. My gut sank. She forwarded a directory, and what I scanned chilled my flesh. Numerous transfers connected to my parents' profiles marked refunds, regular allowances, expenses, none reported, all pulled from relatives. The cycle was obvious. They trained us to provide, then depicted us as unsteady when we halted. It was an extended scam, sentimental deceit disguised as care. Then she added, the previous one whose severed ties received legal docs alleging mental anguish. Prepare yourself. They fight foul. And indeed, at 6 p.m., a pale car entered my path. My pulse quickened. A guy in a bargain outfit exited, wrapped, passed me a packet. Notification of plan to seek aid under senior reliance. Submitted by my parents. They were taking me to court for halting the wires. I slumped to the ground, shocked. But rather than weeping, I grabbed the phone. Hey, it's me. Yes, I received the packet. Let's move forward and include media too. I'm through concealing because if they desired battle, I held 8 years of proofs, and the public was set to view each one. The court space reeked of inexpensive sheets and chilled brew. I occupied the accused spot. Yes, accused. While my own mom and dad glared like I was unknown. Their attorney fixed his neckwear and recited flatly. Our parties have relied financially on their child's steady monthly aid, totaling $2,200 across 8 years. Her abrupt halt in these transfers has inflicted grave mental pain and difficulty. I stayed steady, but as I rose, I sensed all gazes fix on me, including the nearby journalist in the rear. Because indeed, I summoned the media. If they sought exposure, fine. I faced the judge. Your Honor, I stated firmly, I hold 8 years of financial records. The sends were never mandated by court, never asked in script, and never termed as aid. They were presents until I uncovered the sentimental mistreatment linked. I passed the dossier to my counsel. Within evidences of money control, messages where my folks warned to exclude me from kin if I ceased paying. Sound of my father declaring, you owe us all. You shouldn't have existed. Quiet descended. Then a murmur from the claimant's area. My mom, you promised you'd forever care for us. And abruptly her tone broke, not from sorrow, but humiliation since her words were now proof. Beyond the court, lenses spun. Media crowded. One journalist queried, is it accurate your folks used your boy's birthday funds on a voyage? I shifted gradually, stared into the camera, inquired them and departed. At home, I discovered a note slid beneath my entrance. You've shamed us. You've swayed the kin against us. You'll be sorry. But sorry? I was finished lending disgrace. Following dawn, I applied for an official protection command and created one last share. My quiet financed ease. But my speech, that's mine now. The judge's decree passed, protecting, oddly tranquil. No further unexpected raps. No further late-night remorse messages. No further gradual seeping control concealed behind. We're your mom and dad. We care. But the quiet didn't endure. A week on, my supervisor summoned me to his space. He appeared uneasy. There's been an issue. Somebody's been messaging HR alleging you're psychologically fragile and fiscally irresponsible. Claimed you faked your qualifications. They forwarded files. He halted. I did not. I placed my own binder on his surface. Within each endorsement note, all verifications stamped and verified. A sound capture of my mom merely last week stating, if she doesn't repay, we'll ruin her career. She can't make it without us. My supervisor's mouth tightened. She uttered that. I agreed once. He moved the binder away. Your performance echoes stronger. You're staying put. Yet my fingers shook. That evening I accessed the kin group message. Notes unseen for weeks. I entered one phrase. My kid now recognizes how to detect control. That inheritance stops with me. Then I exited the thread, erased all copies, and for the initial time dozed without stashing the device beneath my cushion. But they persisted. 2 days on, my aunt rang sobbing. They informed all at worship that you fled with another's infant, that you exploited them for years and deserted them in elder years. I questioned her gently. Did they also note I covered their housing for 8 years while being termed in error? Quiet. Then she murmured I was unaware. Now they were dropping more than cash. They were dropping their facade. And I was only beginning. The falsehoods began collapsing quicker than anticipated. Individually, kin rang me in hushed bewilderment. No anger, just that shocked, winded voice folks use when grasping the foundation below was never firm. Why did your mother claim you faked the adoption paper? Your father shared you relocated overseas with a wedded guy. Is it fact you altered your contact to sever your ailing parents? I didn't justify, didn't clarify, didn't even exhale heavily. I merely sent the proofs, images, money trails, audio notes, notes of thanks they dispatched me for handling their health costs, their home loan, their trips. One relative, a reserved one I hardly talked to, noted, I trust them. I'm apologetic, but viewing this, I don't recognize them anymore. I responded, they're precisely who they always were. You simply missed it until they aimed the disguise at you. Then arrived the ultimate strike. My mom shared on Facebook a lengthy theatrical section. Sorrow, control, pretended sickness, lines like lost our girl to drive, and we solely desired affection. She mentioned the whole kin in my boys' academy. I flagged the share, but prior to removal, I captured it, then forwarded to my counsel. We submitted an urgent libel action stop order, and a judge session was set. But what followed next didn't originate from the court. It originated from my dad. One phrase dispatched at 2:17 a.m. from an unknown contact. She's falling apart. You prevail. Just kindly don't allow her reputation perish in disgrace. I gazed at the note for ages, then powered down my device. No response because I wasn't done yet. I didn't respond to my father's note. I skipped the court session too. My counsel managed it. The decision arrived softly. A protection command, an everlasting ban, and financial compensation granted for the slander effort. But none of that was the real close. The real close arrived in quiet. Weeks on, my bell sounded. Outside waited a flower deliverer. 2 dozen light gardenias, my mom's preferred. No message, just one term on the band. Home. I shut the entrance. That evening, I rested by my boy's breaths gentle, serene, unaffected by the chaos I created. On my cooking surface rested a pen. Within it, a written check I'd located on my dad's written to me, unsent. Timed the week I completed with distinction. He'd scripted for the girl who challenged us all. He never posted it. I comprehended now. They adored dominance, not individuals. And I adored tranquility more than demonstrating anything. So I ignited a lone flame on the rear deck. The aroma evoked my grandma, the sole one who truly trusted in me. I murmured, you guided me well. And I eventually stepped away properly. No vengeance, no yelling, no final phrases hurled into emptiness. Just calm separation. Unsubscribe, disconnect, reverse. They nurtured a girl they couldn't possess. And now they don't access the me that at last mended. No entry, no news, no admission.